I finished 007 First Light thanks to an early code from IO Interactive, and this is really an adventure that you don't want to miss. No story spoilers of course in this video whatsoever, but this game grabs your attention from the very first moment and never lets go. You are always going to a brand new, very impressive looking location, and even when you think you can take a breather, something unexpected happens that throws you into the next roller coaster. It's Uncharted, Hitman and Watch Dogs put into one, but then with, I would argue, better shooting and a more in-depth fighting system, which makes the extra replayable tactical operator mode a blast as well. Now there are totally things that could be improved, and I encountered some bugs here and there, but nothing that stops me from recommending this game. It's just so cool to see how the MI6 agents get trained in a special camp in Malta. As you probably know, we play a young Bond in this game before he gets the 007 number, so we have to prove ourselves first. And this less serious tone, this playfulness, interacting with the other recruits, even having your own apartment together with them is a really cool start to a James Bond story. In between missions, you go to the Q lab and get to try new gadgets before you can take them with you into the field, but especially here is where the world building shines. In the lab, you see other MI6 employees trying out the new tech, sometimes breaking or exploding when you get too close. You overhear them talk, they comment on recent missions you've been on. They perfectly recreated that Bond fantasy and we can now interact with it like never before. I also love how they did not hold back in the ladies department, as just like in the movies, this younger Bond also has his fair share of flirts and flings. And I dare say it, but the writing really hits that Naughty Dog Uncharted level for me. These are real people interacting with each other, teasing each other, but also getting emotional or deep when needed. I felt for the whole cast in this game, as their personalities really shine through, thanks to the brilliant performances, but also the very sharp dialogue. Oh, and also a big shout out to the soundtrack. It perfectly captures the mood of every scene. It's mostly ominous, but also inviting, and you constantly hear the iconic melodies throughout each track, including the new one from the newly made Lana Del Rey theme song. Playing through this game made me realize how much I miss these narrative-driven linear adventures. IO Interactive does not hold back in terms of set pieces. There are a ton of explosions, buildings breaking down, and all sorts of other moments that keep you on the edge of your seat. The car chases are really fun and always involve different vehicles and terrain, and one of the best parts is that it never becomes predictable. They don't follow one blueprint for every mission, so I was constantly surprised and just curious to see what they would throw at you next. They did a great job keeping many of the story twists hidden in marketing, so expect some fun turns here and there. And I said linear adventure, but First Light also contains a couple of open levels that give you multiple ways to reach your destination. These locations are the most fun to explore. They are usually large galas or parties with tons of people who you hear talking. You can interact with yourself and eavesdrop on to reveal clues for your next objective. Every room you have to infiltrate usually has multiple ways to reach it. You can try to get in through the front door by convincing the guards or stealing an invite from someone, or you can try and find a side entrance to sneak in unnoticed. I totally recommend taking your time to explore these areas, as there are many hidden conversations and interactions that sometimes even tie into later events as an inside joke. Taking your time in these locations will also reveal the multiple options you have, and then you can choose which one sounds the most appealing to you. It's totally possible to just follow the first clue you find and successfully reach your objective, but then the game will feel much smaller than it actually is. Although I do think there's a lot of room for improvement here too, because right now how you reach your objective does not really matter. There are no ramifications for lying your way in or pretending to be someone you are not. While it would have been cool if NPCs you encounter later in the level react to what you did or maybe want to fight you because of it. This would also cause you to take those consequences into account when choosing your approach. There's one level that already plays around with this a bit. It gives you choices in how you interact with a person that then comes back to bite you a bit later, and it shows the potential that these levels have. But right now, it's nothing that really takes away from the experience, but certainly something that I would like to see improved in a potential sequel. I also think the gadgets and their iconic uses could have been a bit more varied. Q has new gadgets for you as you progress through the story, and you then have to choose which one you want to bring with you to the next mission. The dart phone is amazing and lets you very easily sneak past guards or pickpocket an item, so not using this gadget gives you a big disadvantage, while others are mostly used for stealth or combat, so don't necessarily create brand new opportunities or pathways that were not accessible with other gadgets. So this makes the choice of which gadget to bring onto a mission less impactful, but the inclusion of gadgets is still great, and this is where the Watch Dogs comparisons come into play. Many electronics can be hacked to malfunction, which cause a distraction, or you can use it to blind enemies or take them out. These mechanics are also used for the boss fights, which all make them quite varied and surprisingly great. And this is usually not the case in more grounded third-person shooters. Now it also really helps that the moment-to-moment gameplay in 007 First Light is top-notch. You have many options to sneak around and take enemies out silently, but when you get spotted you can easily resolve things with a fist fight that luckily will not alert the whole building. And these melee fights really grew on me as the game went on. I still think the parry and counter attack feedback could be a bit more clear and impactful, but apart from that, you can very easily chain into different attacks. I love the elbow bash that you can quickly do to interrupt an enemy. If they have a gun, this will cause them to drop it. You can grab an enemy and throw them against an object in the environment, which can sometimes instantly kill them. Like, there's a ton here that makes these fights a blast, and pretty challenging too, even on the normal difficulty. And in the tactical simulator, you even learn about more secret combos, like a kick or gut punch, so I totally recommend that in between the story you check out this mode too, as it will help you throughout the rest of the campaign. This tactical simulator is what should give 007 First Light an extended life after finishing the main story, but you can already access it from the Q lab before that. Here you return to locations that you've already been to, but they're now repurposed for special challenges, like a melee gauntlet that has you clear rooms of bad guys before going to the next. The gunplay also has quite some hidden depth, like you can shoot an enemy's gun, which will cause them to drop it, or shoot them in the legs to stun them. In the tactical simulator, you learn these tactics and then have to apply them to be successful. But I wish these tactics were a bit more crucial in the campaign as well, because at least on the normal difficulty, you don't really need them. Just aim for the head, that's always the fastest way to get rid of enemies. But it does feel super satisfying, like the gunplay is excellent. Every weapon handles completely differently. You got a focus mode that slows down time, makes you feel like John Wick taking out enemies with headshots one by one. It's a ton of fun. And this is why I think a gameplay-focused replayable mode really works, as I still could not get enough after finishing the main story, and it adds some much needed length to the overall package. It took me 15.5 hours to go through the campaign, so this is without the tactical ops mode missions that I did, and I also already played 3 hours at a preview event, so I could more quickly go through these parts. So I think it's fair to say that an average first playthrough on normal is around the 17 hours. A bit less than they told me at the preview event, but still pretty good. As you can replay any section of a mission to try different ways to get to objectives, there are challenges for each mission that force you to play in a different way, and you can spend quite a ton of time in that extra tech sim mode, as there's also an online leaderboard to perfect your score. Now I do wish there were a few more missions at launch, but more will be added after release, and you also earn XP by doing this mode, so you can rank up and you can get a currency which lets you buy new outfits, weapons and gadgets that you can then take with you on the next tactical ops mission. In the main story the game decides what you wear, but I hope they add a new game plus mode, so we can go through the game again and use different outfits and all our gadgets. Performance has been really solid overall, even during the more demanding scenes. Now I did have one crash and there is pop-in sometimes, so they still got some work to do, but it's nothing that takes you out of the experience. It's really no big deal, and the same can be said about the bugs. Sometimes enemies would not respond or walk into a door. It happened like a few times, but apart from that, there were no real issues. This is all based on my experience playing the game on PS5 Pro. The game does not have a quality or performance mode there, it combines both. Digital Foundry has a video up highlighting both the performance and quality mode on the base PS5, and it's very solid too. I will leave a link to their video for if you are curious in the video description. Like, I think we have to vote with our wallets here if we want more of these cinematic adventures. It has been more than 10 years since the last mainline Uncharted game, and this really comes dangerously close and even surpasses those games for me in some regards. We always knew that IO Interactive, after their decades-long Hitman experience, would be the perfect candidate for a James Bond game, but I think they really outdid themselves with this by putting so much love, care and tiny details into this package that just make it an adventure that you want to experience. Like, I really hope this is successful enough for them, because then we can probably get new adventures like this every few years, as they already have the foundation down, and again, I think there are already clear ways forward to elevate the experience even more. But this doesn't take away from the fact that 007 First Light is already brilliant, and I can recommend this to anyone who loves single player games. If you have any questions, drop them below and I will do my best to answer them. Subscribe, leave a like, check out my previous video, and I will talk to you soon. Goodbye.